Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at how to create animation, and we will create a small animation like this. So the first question is, what is animation? Animation is an illusion of motion. That means what you see is not actually happening, but you feel like what you're looking at is an object moving. So when you look at an animation, you are looking at a bunch of images, a series of images played in a very short duration of time. And let us see how to create that and how the whole process works, and in the process learn how to create animation. So first thing you will need is images to create your animation. So what we are going to do is look for a series of images that we can put together to create the animation. So in a internet browser, I'm searching for animation strip, and in the tools I've selected large file size so that we get some decent size image which we can convert to animation. I've selected this image. You have to right click and save image as, and then save the image. Once the image is saved, we will go to Photoshop and we'll go to File, open that image. So when you open Photoshop, you'll see that this is your image. If you go to image, image size, and in pixels, this is a 1280 by 720 image. What we need to do is we need to take each of these frames and put it in a separate file. So I'm going to select a selection marquee tool and click and drag to select this, and I'm going to use on the keyboard Control C or edit, copy, and I'll go to file, new. We're going to use the clipboard size. It doesn't really matter what the size is. We'll create it and then we'll Control V it to paste. I will zoom into this a little bit. So now we need the same size of image. So we'll copy this. Second one, Control C, and we'll Control V, paste it again. If you go to Window, Layers, you will see that here is your first image and this is your second image. So you can see already how when you really look at two images quickly, you see some motion. So we will continue to do that. We will shift and move it to the third one. Control C, Control V. Make sure that it is in line 1, 2, 3. You don't want to move the images one after the other. They have to be in series. You can see that this is going to take some time, and yes, animation is a slow process, but in the end, when you see the motion, you will really feel that it was worth a while to spend that time and create the animation. So we'll move on to the next image. Control C, Control V. What I'm doing here is I'm using the shift and the right arrow keyboard on the keyboard to move, and then once it is moved, I just remove the shift and just move it slightly and try to get the white space. So I'll use the shift key, move down arrow, Then I'll move the left arrow, and when it is approximately in the place, I'm going to Control C it and Control V it. I'll shift and move, Control C, Control V. I'll continue to do that. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control. The last one I don't like. I don't want the static image. I want the horse to be always in motion. So you can see that you got 11 layers. The next step is go to Window and open Timeline. And then you click on Create Video Timeline. What you're going to see is all the 11 layers on your timeline. I will close all these so we can focus on the timeline. Now here you can see that there are 11 layers, and this is called this is the time actually. So you can see it says 1F, 2F, that means 1 frame, 2 frame, or 1 image, 2 image. So this 1 image, now this is the playhead. This 1 image is visible for almost 5 seconds, where it says 5F, and then we will click on 1 here, and after 29 it becomes 1 second. That means there are 30 images in 1 second. So when you look at animation, you are looking at approximately 24 or 30 images in 1 second, or 30 frames per second, which is also known as FPS. So what we have to do is, now we have to trim our length of each frame for only 2 frames. Generally there should be only 1 frame per image, or only 1 image should be visible 1 time, but because our animation is very small, and to slow down the work, to slow down the speed of the animation, we are going to use 2 images. We'll repeat 1 image twice, and that way, see, now you have 11 images. So if you play 11 images, it will be less than half a second, because there are 30 images in 1 second. So if you make 2 images, at least you will get to see the animation for 1 second. Okay, so you can, I will be doing 2 frames. You can look at 1 frame or 3 frame and see how it works. We only have 11 images to work with, so if you have 1 frame per image, your animation will be 11 frames long. If it is 2 images, then it will be 22 frames long, and if it is 3 images, then it is going to be 33 frames long. Now after you do that, what you have to do is you have to move each image one after the other. Okay, so you're going to see this image first, and the first layer first, and then the second layer, and then so on. I will select all the 3 and move them and align them, and you will see that it is 22 frames long. And then when you drag this, you will see how the animation is playing. You can click here, and now you will see that the animation is playing. There is a button here which says loop playback. So if your animation plays and stops, you will have to go here, and then you have to loop it, and when you play, the animation is going to loop. Okay, so let us look at making it 1 frame. So you'll have to drag it, make it 1 frame, and repeat it for all the layers that you have, and then you can select all these three and move it, deselect, select one and then move it. Now it is 11 frames long, and if we play this, now you see that the horse is running much faster. Okay, so a 2-frame animation, okay, undo this multiple times, so I'm back at 2 frames, and we will then render the video. You go to render video. Again, I'm not going to go over the details of this, but we will just use whatever the default is. If you want to change the name and where you want to save it, I want to save it in animation 1 and then name it horse. I'll replace the existing one, and it's rendering the video. It's done. So if you go to your desktop, animation 1, then there's your movie, and again you can click here and then repeat and play it. And that's how you create your first animation. See if you can look at some other animation strips and create a few more animations to get some practice and have fun with it. Thanks.